Hello, students. Now, when we talk about nationalism, what comes to your mind? I'm sure you think about revolutions, flags, anthems. All of that is correct. But what if I told you that one of the most powerful forces in building a nation was actually its economy? Yes, today we are going to explore this very interesting story of economic nationalism, and we'll learn about something called the Zollverein.
So let's start with a question for you all to think about. What do taxes, trade, and trains have to do with creating a country? It seems like a strange combination, doesn't it? But trust me, by the end of this lesson, you will see exactly how these three things are connected. Let's find out.
All right, here is our plan for today. First, we will understand nationalism's other face, which is economics. Then, we will look at the obstacles to German trade. Third, we'll study the solution, the Zollverein. After that, we'll see how it helped in forging economic unity. And finally, we will connect how the economy led to the creation of the nation.
Okay, let's begin with our first section, nationalism's other face, economics. As the subtitle says, it's not just about flags and anthems. And students, please remember this. It's a very important point for your exams. Nationalism also has a very powerful economic side.
So, you see, in the early 19th century, a shared economy became a very powerful force for national unity. A wave of what we call economic nationalism was spreading. And what does this mean? It's a simple but very strong idea that if people trade together, if they build an economy together, they start to feel like they are one people, one nation with the same interests.
All right, now let's move to our second section to see what the actual problems were. We're talking about obstacles to German trade, or, as it says, the problem of a divided land. You have to remember, before Germany became one single country, it was actually a collection of many small states.
To understand how difficult things were, let's use an example. Imagine you are a merchant in the year 1833, and you have to take your goods on a journey from Hamburg all the way to Nuremberg. Now, on this single journey, do you know how many times you would have to stop? You would have to cross 11 customs barriers. Just think about that. 11 times you have to stop. And at each barrier, you have to pay a customs duty, a tax, of about 5%. Imagine the delays, imagine the extra cost. It made doing business, doing trade extremely difficult.
And the problems didn't stop there. On top of that, can you believe the German Confederation had more than 30 different types of currencies? That means every time you crossed from one small state to another, you had to change your money. It was so chaotic and made all the calculations so complicated. And if you think that was confusing, just look at this. The unit for measuring cloth was called the L. Sounds simple, no? But it was not. As you can see in this table, 1 L of cloth in Frankfurt was 54.7 centimeters, but in Nuremberg, it was 65.6 centimeters. Can you imagine being that merchant? Each time you reach a new city, you have to do time-consuming calculations all over again. It was very frustrating, and it slowed down trade a lot.
So, as you can now understand, all these conditions were major obstacles to economic growth. The customs barriers, the different currencies, the different systems of weights and measures, they were all big problems. And the new commercial classes, the businessmen, they argued that this had to change. They wanted a unified economic territory, a place where goods and capital could move freely without all these problems. So, this brings us to our third section, where we will see the solution. The Zollverein, a solution, uniting through trade. Now, students, this word Zollverein is very important, so please pay close attention.
So, what exactly was the Zollverein? Well, the Zollverein was a customs union that was formed in 1834. This was started at the initiative of Prussia, and most of the other German states joined it. What is a customs union, you ask? It's simply an agreement to create one single economic area. So remember this key word, Zollverein means customs union.
So how did this Zollverein solve the problems? It did three main things. Step 1, it abolished the tariff barriers inside the German states. Those 11 stops we talked about, they were gone. Step 2, it reduced the number of currencies from over 30 down to just 2. Much simpler. And step 3, it created a network of railways to help with mobility, making it easier and faster to transport goods. These 3 steps really changed everything for trade.
So, these were very big changes. But what was the real impact of the Zollverein? Let's find out in our fourth section, Forging Economic Unity.
What the Zollverein did was create a unified economic territory. This means it allowed for the free movement of goods, people, and capital. To give you a simple example, think about India today. Goods can travel from Delhi to Mumbai or from Kolkata to Chennai without having to stop at every state border to pay a different tax, right? The Zollverein created a very similar system for the German states.
There was a famous economist at that time, Friedrich List, and he explained the purpose of the Zollverein very well. He said, and I quote, "The aim of the Zollverein is to bind the Germans economically into a nation." What does this mean? It means that when people have common economic interests, when they trade with each other easily, it helps to create a national feeling. It makes them feel like they are one.
And this brings us to our final section where we will connect all the dots. Section 5, From Economy to Nation. Let's see how all these economic changes paved the way for a unified Germany. So, to summarize what we have learned today, here are the key takeaways. Please note these down. First, economic interests were harnessed for national unification. It wasn't just about feelings, it was also about practical economic benefits. Second, a common economy strengthened nationalist sentiments. And third, this economic unity, which was led by Prussia, laid the groundwork, it prepared the way for a unified German nation-state.
And so, we end with a big question for you to think about. Did a common market build the German nation? It's a very powerful thought, isn't it? That a nation can be created not just on the battlefield with wars, but also in the marketplace through trade. What do you think about that?